What's up, y'all? We're out here at the range, as you can see back behind me. Hot, sunny day out here. I've been doing a lot of sweating and a lot of fussing out here over the first test that I've done. This one right here is going to be what should be an interesting 10 mil test. So we got the jelly contraption out here ready to go with the lab radar and 2 blocks of gel. Now, I've only done 1 test in these blocks, believe it or not, with these tracks. The front block up here has got a few tracks in it. And then as you can see, it was some terrible performance. So we got 2 tracks messing up my other block down here, so I'll leave a link up above if y'all want to check that one out. And then of course, as you can see, standard is my heavy clothing barrier with the layer of denim, fleece, and 2 layers of cotton t-shirt material. So what we got for this one here is some ammo that always brings a lot of controversy, a lot of discussion. Some people will absolutely love this stuff. Some people don't want anything to do with it. Me personally, I can see the performance of it. It does what it says it does. It does it well, but I'm personally still on the fence about this stuff. I don't really know what my hang up is about it, but like I say, I'm just on the fence about it. So that being said, as you can see, what we got here is some Liberty ammunition. We've got their civil defense in 10 mil. This is their 60 grain with a 2,400 feet per second velocity. And now I have tested this standard civil defense here, and it does get that. I believe I got 23 and some change out of this G20. If y'all aren't familiar with this Liberty ammo, it's really, really light stuff. Like I said, this is only 60 grain, but it's moving incredibly fast. It's supposed to be lower recoil. One thing I can tell you about this stuff is it's very, very loud from what I've tested, and it does go all to pieces. That's what it's meant to do. You basically got that nice nickel plated case there, and you got a big old cavity there, and basically what happens is everything from the case up, that all breaks off into a bunch of pieces, and then your little bit of disc keeps on going. And what we're going to test up beside this regular stuff, which is pretty much the point of this video, is this Overwatch. Now, their Overwatch line is a heavier projectile and a little bit less speed, obviously. So this one here is a 70 grain, where this regular stuff is a 60, and then your feet per second on this is 2150, where this is 2400. Now, in the only other differences that I can see, it's got that black slicky coating on it that's supposed to be better for lubricity, but I'm sure it works the same way. Everything that you see exposed here is going to break completely off, all the pieces, and then that bulk of that disc is going to keep on going. And of course, as you can see, our test tool out here today is the good old Glock 20 Gen 4 with the 4.5-inch barrel. But this ought to be a pretty good test. Like I say, I already know for sure that the standard stuff does what it says. Now, I've never tested it through clothing, but this stuff right here, in the other calibers I've tested, it don't care nothing about this clothing. So I expect that to do just like it did before. Now, this Overwatch, I'm definitely curious in that. Maybe with the heavier piece still going, it'll change my mind and get me off the fence one way or the other. But let me get this stuff set up and let's see what it can do. All right, let's see if we can get some speeds on these things, y'all. I'm gonna try to do a 3-round average from each one. I don't have but so many of these rounds, and it ain't really so much the cost. It kind of is, but I also have to order them. And I think this thing's gonna give me a hard time about reading these anyway. I've switched it over to rifle velocity range. You have to choose the range, and anything over 1600 bumps it up to rifle velocity. So I've got it set for that, but I tried a couple and it gave me a couple errors. So we'll see what happens. Like I say, I'm gonna try to get 3 rounds on it. This is the standard version. Now, if we do get readings, you'll see 5 different readings. The big number is going to be the muzzle, and then you'll also see across the bottom readings for 3, 7, 10, 25, and 50 yards, if we get them, that is. I got a feeling we're going to have some problems here. Since I already have, I think it's going to continue. 23, 21. I could not read. 2330. I think I figured my problem. I said that and then got the error. Let me get one more round. And 2311, so we're gonna stay at 3 right there. Looks like we only got out to 10 yards on the bottom too, but let's take a quick look at that average anyway. All right, the 3-round average on that was 2,321 feet per second, so I'm pretty sure the 23 something is what I got last time, right there at that 2,400. Your extreme spread was 20, so not bad there, and a standard deviation of 9.9. Now, granted, this is only three rounds, so take that for what it's worth. But anyway, let me reset it and let's see if we can get them Overwatch to read. All right, let's see if we can manage to get a few readings from these Overwatch. Again, 3 rounds is all I'm gonna try on these and hope we can get those 3 to cooperate with us. Not on that first one. I'm trying to see if I can figure where the sweet spot is. 2127. 2161, I think I might have found the sweet spot just then. Let me grab another round. Now, if y'all don't remember, these on the box are saying 2150, so they're already exceeding that. Let's see if we can get this third round. I think I got the sweet spot where to hold this thing now. That wasn't it. Yeah, it was it. 2123. Let's check the average on that. All right, so our 3-round average that time was 2,137 feet per second. So a little bit shy of the 2150 as far as an average. We had an extreme spread of 38 and a standard deviation of 20.8. Now, again, this is just a 3-round average, so that standard deviation is not going to be the most accurate. So 2137 on this, and if you remember on the standard stuff, it was 2321. So you talking about what's that? 184 feet per second difference. So pretty good bit of difference there for just 10 grains. I know both of these are going to do well in the gel. They're going to do what they always do. They're going to go in here and fragment all to pieces, and that little piece is going to get at least 12 inches. So let me get this reset, and y'all know what time it is. All right, y'all, it's Need for Speed jelly time. I'm gonna put one of each round into the gel down there, starting with this standard civil defense first. I don't think we'll have any kind of reading on this optical chrono since I got those lights on it now. I also painted the projectile black, so hopefully we don't have any problem. The only problem I'm worried about is keeping this stuff in the gel. All right, that should have been absolutely perfect. It took up a lot of room though. Let me go see what I got. All right, y'all, that was a good hit down there. Unfortunately, it went about right in the middle of the block, and that thing curved around like a roller coaster, that last little piece of it. Y'all can probably see it in there. So I've got the block turned completely around, so one of them's gonna be coming from one end, one from the other, but that's really the best way to get y'all to be able to see everything. Now, it's probably still gonna be a little tricky, but y'all know I'm gonna give you plenty of angles to make sure you can see it all. So let's see what this one right here does with the 10 extra grains. I'm expecting a little bit more penetration out of this, so if it does that crazy curvy swervy mess, it's liable to go out the side sure enough. Let's see what we get. That should have been absolutely perfect as long as it didn't go out the side or the bottom. Let me go see what we got. All right, let's check out what we got down here, y'all. I think flipping that block was definitely the right call. I think you get a pretty clear view of what goes on with both of these. But we'll start down here on the left with the regular civil defense, the 60 grain stuff. It did what it does. I mean, what it always does. As soon as it enters that gel, it just goes all to pieces. I mean, just massive energy dump right there. Tons of disruption of wound channel, and you get all of that massive fragmentation. I mean, that fragment field is just huge. And then you get the center piece that keeps on trucking. Now, as you can see, one thing I don't care for with this stuff, and it does it a lot, it's very unpredictable. That center piece, once it loses all of those pieces and all of that material around it, its center of gravity is all out of whack. The balance is totally out of whack. So you see a lot of times, or almost every time, it curves one way or the other, or a lot of times multiple different ways. And as you can see, this one did exactly that. It kept on going there, and then you can see it took a hard turn, buddy. A little bit more, another half of an inch, and it would have came out the top right there. So we got lucky and kept that one. Now what you got left there is that round base piece after you lost all the material there that I talked about earlier. And then coming in from the right side down here at the bottom, that's the Overwatch, the 70 grains. So 10 grains heavier right here. Now you can see a definite difference in the action in the gel. This disruption here, although pretty much the same mechanism, it comes in, goes all to pieces again, tons of fragments, tons of disruption. However, this field here, this disruption is not as large as that one on the left. You can plainly see there's a larger amount of disruption and more fragmentation from the light around, which does make sense. It's going faster, so it's going to have more disruption, more fragmentation. So no surprise here. But again, the centerpiece, same thing, keeps on rolling. And we got really lucky on this one also. As you can see, it was going in nice and straight and then starts curving. And unfortunately, Unfortunately, this one decided to curve down instead of up, which would have been the best, but curves down, and it actually just barely kissed that board down there, and then kept going a little bit further, and it's sitting sideways. So that's what I was saying. It's almost always this stuff, when it gets sideways, it just gets a mind of its own and goes wherever it pleases. But now, as far as the penetration on them, the standard civil defense 60 grain stuff here went to exactly 12.5 inches, and then the Overwatch down there on the bottom did what it was supposed to do and went a little further than the standard. It stopped at 13.25. Now, would it have went further if it weren't for kissing that board down there? Maybe. I mean, it maybe have went a half inch, maybe an inch further. I don't think even that much, because the way it was curving, it was more than likely going to keep that curve in downward motion and not go as far anyway. Here's a little bit closer look. This one right here is that Overwatch, the heavier one. Like I said, all two pieces, keeps on trucking, starts curving down like that stuff always does, and then there you can see it kissed the bottom just a little bit, and then there's your disc there. And then flipping around to the other side, here's the standard 60 grain civil defense. I mean, that's an absolute mess down there. One thing I cannot deny is it gives you a massive energy dump, and it happens every single time right when it goes into gel. So massive energy dump right there. And then, but you, like I said before, this thing loses all kind of balance and just starts a hard swerve up right there. And you can see the disc that's left there. All right, let's take a look at what we got left on these projectiles, y'all. So as you can see, if you look at it from the side, you can tell which is which already without me even saying. This right here is the original version 60 grain. This is the Overwatch 70 grain. You can definitely see a difference in the thickness of what's left of those center pieces. Now, as far as the diameter, basically the same thing. I can tell this one's a little bit more jagged. This one's the 70. I marked this one here just so I wouldn't forget. So a little bit more jagged as far as where the pieces broke off on the 70. So you got probably a little bit more size because of that, but no expansion or anything from either one of them. But let's see what kind of weight we retained. This is the part I'm very curious about. We'll start with this one here, the original 60 grainer. Obviously started at 60, and it's all the way down to 37.9. So quite a bit of loss right there. The Overwatch here started at 70 grains, and it's down to 48.8. So that makes sense. Everything's adding up there. You got a little bit over 10 grains difference between these, and it looks like a little bit more percentage of that 60 grainer got lost over the 70. But let's check out the sizes on them right quick. This one here is from the, this is the regular, the 60 grain civil defense. Now, if I get down here on the base off of that jagged part, you got 394 and 394 again. And if I check the thickness of it, you got 168. And then on the Overwatch here, I'll try to not get that jagged part and just get the base on it also. You got 400 and 393, so probably a little deformation there is what's causing it to be uneven. And then as far as the thickness on this one, you got 206. So like I said, it's a noticeably difference in the thickness on this 70 grainer. And there you have it, y'all, the Liberty Ammunition Civil Defense and Overwatch in 10mm. No surprise off of either one of these here. Exactly what I expected, exactly what you see in every single caliber of these right here. One thing you've got to give them is it does exactly what it says. I mean exactly what it says, and it does it every single time. You get some very impressive speed, some really nice energy out of these things. As far as the penetration, I personally like a little bit more than this. Most people would say this is adequate. Now, if I were going to choose one of these, it would be the Overwatch without a doubt, because part of my hang up for whatever reason is the weight of this little centerpiece that keeps on trucking and the penetration that it gets. And with this little bit of heavier weight, you are definitely getting more penetration. And like I said, if we wouldn't have tapped the bottom, we may have got even a little bit more. But then you get the flip side where all this curving and swerving goes on. You know, if this thing goes in and give you that initial damage, now, no doubt about it, that's going to be a bad day for the recipient. But if that thing immediately curved, let's say, I mean, it immediately takes a hard right turn or even a hard 180-degree turn. I mean, that's very possible with the spinning disc like that. It may come right out and not do a whole lot more. Now, if it curves and then hits something else vital, that's just a bonus. But that's total luck of the draw, because like I say, when you lose that center of gravity on these discs, they're just on for a wild ride. All right, y'all, that's a wrap for another pretty interesting 10mm test. Nothing really surprising on this one. Again, they do what they always do. Very nice speeds, obviously. Nice energy out of them. Tons of fragmentation and arguably adequate penetration. I'll just go on and tell you though, what I seen out here today doesn't change my mind one way or the other about these rounds in any caliber. I'm just not sold on these things. I don't know what it is. I think part of it is the unpredictability that I see out of these things as far as they're curving all over the place, the really shallow amount of damage. Now don't get me wrong, that's not just a scratch. That's going to do some serious damage, if not put somebody out of the fight. But there's just something about them that I'm just not sold on completely. But let me know down in the comments what y'all think about the performance you saw out of them out here today. I know some of y'all out there do carry these things, not only in 10 mil, but some other rounds you've mentioned down in the comments. Let me know what you think about the difference between the Overwatch and the regular. If you were going to pick one of these in 10 mil to carry, which one would it be? If you enjoyed the video, reach down and hit that thumbs up button. Make sure you subscribe to the channel and make sure you turn on your notifications so you don't miss anything when I upload it. If you're doing some shopping, check out those affiliate links in the video description. Anything you buy after going through those links down there, I get a kickback from them towards the channel, so I really appreciate that. Again, I appreciate all my Range Gang members and every single one of y'all out there for supporting the channel like y'all do. I've got a lot more fun stuff planned for out here today, so be on the lookout for that. And in the meantime, stay safe, stay prepared, and I'll see you soon.